Hey Minties, this is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and today join me for an advanced look at the timely's greatest Golden Age Submariner, the Post-War Years by Marvel Comics, so please stay tuned. Okay, now before I get started, I'd like to thank David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus comes out on April 15th, and it's part of this Timely's Greatest line that you see up here. We've had the Golden Age Simon and Kirby, which mainly focused on Captain America. We've had the Golden Age Human Torch by Carl Burgos. And then, of course, we've had the Submariner Volume 1 Golden Age. By the way, this is the direct market cover. There is a standard edition cover that will be available on April 15th, along with this cover, at comic book stores and places like cheapgraphicnovels.com, In Stock Trades, and Tales of Wonder. Now, before I get started, I did want to do a quick little look at both of the Volume 1, which is the pre-war years, and it's not really a Volume 1, it's just Timely's Greatest Golden Age Submariner pre-war years. Check out what the backs look like. The pre-war years retails for $150, and the post-war years retails for $125. Here's what the spines look like, and what all the spines look like together. Here's what both of the books look like underneath the dust jacket, with the pre-war years right here and post-wars. Just to kind of give you an idea, they both have a Bill Everett image across the front and back in the spine. Alright, so let's get this book opened. Love the bookend colors. This is very similar to Volume 1. Golden Age Submariner by Bill Everett, Post-War Years. So, actually, that color is very similar to Volume 1. And I keep calling it Volume 1, but it's actually post and pre-war years. Now, before I go any further, let's give credit where credit is due. These are the wonderful folks that put the book together. Not physically, but they were in charge of the project. Corey Sedmeyer, Rodolfo Muraguchi, and then, of course, the art restoration, which is really important, like Monster Solutions, Wesley Wong, Michael Kelleher, Pacific Rim Graphics, and Del Crane. And there is a special thanks to Wendy Everett and Nick Caputo, Mark Levy, and Roy Thomas, who does the introduction. This book, much like the pre-war years, was printed by the Leo Paper Group. So pretty much the pre-war and post-war years, I love this image, by the way, is actually talking about Bill Everett himself. Here's the table of contents. So we have the Timely comics here up until where it becomes the Atlas era in the 50s. Actually, they tell you the publishing date. So the last time we see them at Timely, it's 1949, and then when they're reprinted at Atlas, it's 1953. Here's a wonderful introduction by, of course, comic historian and wonderful storyteller himself, Roy Thomas. It's a 6-page introduction, but man, I learned a lot through here. And honestly, because of this introduction, I was able to appreciate Bill Everett's wonderful artwork more than I did the very first, for some reason, the very first time, the pre-war years. So what it means by pre-war and post-war is that it's talking about Bill Everett when he went to war. When he went to serve his country, he was stationed over in the Philippines, and he was gone for a few years. So when he came back, they offered him a position as I think it was a freelance artist at first, for Timely to continue drawing the adventures of the Submariner. And he decided to, and it all kicked off again with this storyline right here. And but in between the time that he was gone and he came back, Namor's head had changed. Like, it became a lot more triangular. That's not a triangle. What the heck is wrong with me? Sorry. Apparently I can't do a triangle with my hands. But anyway, so he decided to start shaping it back. As a matter of fact, he doesn't really even do most of the covers. Most of the covers are either unknown or done by Sid Shores. But he does the internal works, and that's pretty much what's collected in here. It's everything he's written and everything that he drew for Namor for both the Timely years that Marvel was known as and then Atlas. So it collects Submariner 21 through 24, skipping issue 25 because he didn't work on that. Then 26 through 30, 32 to 42, then the Namora series, miniseries 1, 2, 3, the Human Torch comics 28, 30, 37, and 38, the Marvel Mystery Comics 84 through 86, and 90 and 91, Blonde Phantom Comics number 17, and then the Atlas years, which is the Young Men 24 through 28, and Men's Adventures number 28. So, if you look at the artwork here, you can see a little bit of a difference than when it was the pre-war years. As a matter of fact, there's some sketches in the back that he did while he was stationed in the Philippines, which I think it's awesome. And again, cover art by Sid Shores. I love that they credit as many people as they can, because sometimes there is no one to credit, unfortunately. They don't know who drew it. But I love his underwater effects, if I could show you all. This really doesn't do it justice, but I just love the way that he's able to work in different layers almost. And that dude does not look like a normal face, human face. So he did his own lettering, and for the most part wrote his own stories. So as we're looking at the artwork, I want you to focus on what it looks like here, and then later on what it becomes during his years in Young Men. So I like this character right here. I read this story. She was a Hollywood actress whose face got disfigured. So a lot of it has to do with him and Namora. A lot of his people are gone. It's not the same as the pre-war years. As a matter of fact, he's not as strong as he used to be in the pre-war years. And Roy Thomas actually mentions that. They eventually get rid of the wings and the feet and his ability to fly. I don't know if that's to make him more of a human being and give him weaknesses and less of a Superman character. For whatever the reason, they made the change. Now, it's usually him, Namora, and of course, Betty Dean, who Bill Everett created from the very first issue of what was Marvel Comics, of course. So that's who the main cast is. And then later on, I think he starts bringing his people back. Here we go. Now, let's get over here. Look a little more further. When I was talking about, he's walking around in the Speedos. His wings are gone from his feet. And like I said, he's got less to do with underwater adventures and more to do with fighting pirates and things like that. But I always thought it was pretty cool that Bill Everett did his own lettering. I didn't know that until I read the introduction by Roy Thomas in this volume. Now, keep an eye on the picture here, and we'll move forward and look at the stuff from Young Men. So, in 1949, Timely decided to stop publishing Captain America, Human Torch, and the Submariner. And then, a few years later, like 4 years later, in 1953, because of the popularity of the Superman TV show, they decided to relaunch the lines again. And the only one that actually outlived all the others was Submariner, because there was talks of a TV show that actually never went anywhere, sadly. But just look how different his artwork is now. This is in just 4 years, right? And there's just a lot of cartoony characters still, but it looks so real, and like each panel just has so much more detailed. It looks like a different artist almost. And I love when artists evolve like that. You don't really notice it as you get these books monthly, right? Like when I was reading comics as a kid, I never really noticed the evolution of an artist. Every once in a while, if an artist would try something new, I would notice. Like I remember, of course, Frank Miller, when he was trying new things, or Mike Mignola. But for the most part, I never really saw an evolution of an artist, or never noticed. So it's really cool to go back and have this privilege of looking back here at all the years that his artwork has been collected compared to his later years. And according to a lot of people, this is some of the best work that he ever did. Now, he's also known for having co-created Simon the Zombie, and also one of the greatest characters of all time, of course, Daredevil. But his biggest creation and contribution to Marvel was the Submariner. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. His underwater scenes are just freaking epic. Man, and the restoration just makes you appreciate it so much more. It looks like it was just printed off of the freaking printers and right into your hands. Now, let's look in the back here for some extras. So over here is his boot camp years from March 24th. He started drawing some people in his boot camp. Some of the things he would see in the Philippines. So it's really cool that he was able to ship this back here, and we still have it. This is something that he gave for a fan and comic historian, Ron Goulart. That is really cool. Then we have a caricature from Marie Severin, who drew him with his creations. Old Man Submariner, or the Ancient Submariner. Man, that guy was telling stories ahead of his time. And then this piece right here dedicated to his son, Rob Everett. Now, the book has 568 pages. Let's take a look at the binding really quick. It is sewn binding. Not much of a flex on that inner spine. Not that you really need it for a book like this. mainly because there are no splash pages, and it lays over pretty nice. I mean, we're looking at the very first few pages right now, and it's laying over good towards the front. This is what I mean. So, if there were splash pages, you would have minimal gutter loss. But let's look at the back again. We're looking at the last few pages, and it's laying over pretty nice. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this book when it comes out on April 15th, you can purchase it from our sponsor,
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you mentees, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
Now, that was the contents of the book and the build of the book and when it comes out. Please don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that notifications button to let you know when our videos are going live. If you have any other questions, please let me know in the comments down below. We can be found on Patreon and on Redbubble, and all of that information is in the description down below. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint.